We are looking at teaching cognitive processes related to comprehension, how to do it, in this case, how to teach inference. Starts with a purpose statement. Students will learn how to, and we use graphic organizers to teach cognitive processes. So we will say, learn how to, insert name of graphic organizer there. Now, the ultimate purpose is not to be able to use a graphic organizer. No one cares if students can complete an inferogram. We are using the graphic organizer as a means to an end to develop the cognitive process as a scaffold. It's a means to an end, which is inferring. I am the holiest of whole language teachers. I believe in very direct and very explicit instruction. That means instruction that takes place to the greatest extent possible within a meaningful context. It starts with a purpose. We're not just doing an activity. It is a purposeful activity, an instructional activity for students to learn a specific thing or things. Very explicit input where I describe the what, the how, and the why of that skill. Demonstration and modeling, guided practice where we do a few together, and then independent practice, which is practice of something students have already learned. All right. In this case, I'm teaching students how to infer, which is using clues to understand ideas not stated in the text. It's not simply guessing, it's using clues. Now, when I do input, I like to make personal connections, start with real life examples, and then go to the book or the abstract examples. Lots of thinking out loud or cognitive modeling, especially if I'm teaching cognitive processes. Make my thinking visible by thinking out loud. Now we start with the inference question. What happened to Sally? They know that up front, so now they're reading for purposeful intent. One day Sally came to class 15 minutes late. She quickly set her backpack and bike helmet down by the door and limped to her desk. Her legs and arms were scraped up. Her shirt was dirty and torn. What happened to Sally? Now, even though this inference is very obvious to us, that's the way it should be. We are demonstrating, we are modeling. The steps to inferring, and we use a thinking frame, which is simply the steps of a cognitive process. Look at the question, look for clues, make an inference based on clues. And there's my graphic organizer, and it helps students organize their thinking. The question, clues, and inferences. And when I model this, I'd show them the question, I'd have the graphic organizer out there, and as I'm thinking aloud, I would write the clues in, and then I would answer the inference question. I'm modeling, I'm demonstrating. That would take 2 to no more than 5 minutes of direct input. Guided practice is at the heart of any skills lesson. You're doing 1 or 2 together to see if they have got it. And you're using different text passages or different text as you do this. And then you're filling in graphic organizers for each one that you do together. And it's a gradual release of responsibility, meaning that there's less me and more them every time. The first one, maybe I did all of it except the end, and they did the end, and I would walk around. Maybe the next one, we do all of it except half of it, walk around. Last one, they would work with a partner to do the infograph, and I would walk around and see if they have got it. If I did a good job, independent practice would be successful 95 to 100% of the time. And independent is practice of what students have already learned. It should look a lot like guided practice. We are using a different text passage here or a different text. You should supply the inference question up front. And students then complete the graphic organizer. That's an important one. You're not simply asking them to infer. You are providing the inference question so that they are reading with purposeful intent. Lesson duration, 2 to 15 minutes. Guided practice, that's the heart of it. 5 to 15 minutes, but usually closer to 10. Independent practice, 5 to 15 minutes, usually closer to 10. This is one part of a reading lesson or session. With any skill, they're not going to master it once. You need to review, revisit many times. And you want to save lots of room for reading practice. Reading practice should be at the heart of any reading lesson or session. There you go.